Alright, so for those of you that are barely coming in, I know some of you, maybe you were let go a little later from your other class. Once again, we're working on warm-up number 3. The agenda for today, let me go back to that. We're going to cover the warm-up number 2. We're going to work on number sets and expressions, and then I'm going to leave you 8 problems for home play. So we're working on problem number 2 and number 3. So number 2 says simplify -5 plus 1 plus -3 plus 6 plus -2. Problem number 3 says simplify 6 plus -4 plus 3 plus 2 plus -3 plus 4. So simplify those really quick, and if you're done, set up a paper to take notes today. It's in Cornell note format. I emailed that to your parents, and some of you that contacted me, I emailed that directly to you, so you should have the format by now. Once again, guys, as we're going through the lesson, imagine we're in class, and if you have any more questions to clarify something that we do, like a new concept that maybe you just need more clarification, just unmute yourself and say, Mr. Q, can you repeat that, please, or can you elaborate more on that, or can you give us another example or something like that, in case you need clarification. That's completely fine. All right. And once again, if you're just joining in, guys, I need your screens on, because I'm going to be selecting some of you, and I just want to make sure I know who I'm talking to. And I want to make sure that you don't have like a doctor in mathematics taking the course for you. And we'll go from there. Appreciate it. Also, eventually, you may turn it off. However, I want to see a picture of you if you turn off the camera, so make sure after today you go to your settings, get a picture of you or the best selfie that you have, and put it up there so that when you turn off the camera, you're there. Okay? But I do want to see you. I want to see interaction, guys. It's a regular classroom. Okay? All right, here we go. So I want to be picking some of you throughout. So just be ready to answer. Whenever I call your name, make sure you unmute yourself first, and then you answer the question. So let's start with number 2. Number 2 says simplify -5 plus 1 plus -3 plus 6 plus -2. So let's see who's got. I'm gonna pick Mr. Q. Bam, let's go. All right, Mr. Q, what you get for number 2? Well, I got. Let me see. I believe I got -3. Hands if you got that. Okay, good. And guys, if you see me turning this way, it's because I have my second screen over here where I have all your camera views. All right. Number 2. Number 2. If you simplify 6 plus -4 plus 3 plus 2 plus -3 plus 4, and this one, the correct answer is 8. Hands if you got that. Okay, good. Now I know, like you guys say, it's been a fat minute since you guys got some mathematics in your noodle, but we're gonna go, snowballing this so you guys can get there. So make sure when we get there, we, if you have questions in certain parts, just make sure you let me know. Okay. All right. So Cornell note. Let's see. Cornell notes. If you notice on yesterday's email that I sent out, or was it the other day or 2 days ago? The format goes as follows. Let me zoom in. All right, so here's the format. So we have at the top whatever the lesson for today would be, the title goes up here. Title. You don't have to write that. I'm just showing you what goes where. Here, the Frayer model, I'm going to give you a definition of a concept that we cover. I'm going to give you an example, and I'm going to give you a non-example. At least one or two. However, the top right is critical attributes. And what is that, Mr. Q? Critical attributes is basically the main components of what the concept is. And guys, I like to clarify the concept before we move on to do stuff with the concept or the main idea, just because I want to make sure that all of you are understanding what we're looking at. Okay? Now look at the bottom left of your Cornell notes. It says objective. At the bottom left, whenever you hear me mention the objective, you write it down at the bottom left. And now, since you are in high school and you already have a good experience with note-taking and such, at the bottom right, it says summary. And what goes there, Mr. Q? At the end of each lesson, you're going to write something here that you need to remember from this lesson. Now, it's not going to be the definition of the concept, because the definition I'm going to give you, and it goes there. But it's going to be maybe something, a rule, a formula, or something that you really need to remember. You write it at the summary. You just write, today I really need to remember to memorize the distance formula because we need it for the graphing circles or something like that. That goes at the bottom. Now, what else? Notice here on the column here, this one's empty. This column, we call it the cues column. Cues. Get it? Cues. Bam. So what that is that if there's something that you need to remember from the Frayer model, or an example that I give you here, you need to make a note. Let's say there's an example here that you really need to remember, then you point to it, you draw here like an asterisk, a heart, aww, and then you write, don't forget. So it's just cues to remember about stuff that I'm going to be giving you to take notes on. And once again, we're getting the format done. Notice that we haven't even started the lesson. Right now it's just organization. We're trying to get there little by little. So, alright? Okay, let's move on. Now, last time we met, I left you guys home play. 5 pairs of numbers to find me the sum, difference, product, and quotient. And then I left you guys to get page 8 signed from your syllabi. Now, some of you already got it signed, and your parents got it signed, and you guys emailed me. That's fine. Some of you barely have it right now, and we're going to turn it in, and I'll show you how to do that. Yes, Miles?
I had a question about how to get it signed.
Okay, so there's there's a couple options. Here we go. Ready? So one option is your parents have a computer. They can download the PDF. I made a PDF for that purpose, and on their computer they're able to do an electronic signature and drop it on Drive and send it to me, or they can write over it if possible and send it to me. Or if all else fails, you have a mobile device, right? And your mobile device, when you open up the document, you can go to the page 8. Check this out. Look at this part. Take a screenshot. That goes to your gallery. And then you go to your gallery of pictures, go to that screenshot, edit the picture, and it's going to allow you to write on it. And that's how they can sign it, and you can sign it. And to turn it in, it's going to be turned in right now, in case you didn't send it before. Did that make sense? Okay. Alright. So, to turn it on a home play, I want you to open up Nearpod, please. And let me give you a code for today. And here's your code. Whenever you're logging into Nearpod, remember, use your full name, please, because for right now, for attendance purposes and all that, I just want to make sure that we have record. Eventually, you can call yourself I don't know, Super Q or whatever. But for right now, your name. All right. So your code for Nearpod is coming up. Let me pause it. Homeplay for tonight is simplify the 8 expressions on the screen. Number 1 is -5 plus 3 plus -1 plus 4. Number 2 is 6 plus -4 plus -5 plus 7 plus -6. Number 3, -2 -5 plus 3 -4 plus 5 plus -3 minus -4. Number 4 is 4 times, open parentheses, -7 plus 5, close parentheses, divided by 2 minus 1 plus 2 squared plus 4 times -1. Number 5 reads 2x plus 5 plus 6x plus -8. Number 6, 5y plus 2 minus 8y minus 8. And number 7, 6y plus 2 plus 3x plus -2y plus -5 plus 4, open parentheses, times 2x plus y, close parentheses. And number 8, 1 minus 7m plus 2x squared plus 10a plus 9m plus -8x squared plus -6 plus a plus 5. Copy that. Alright, so let's move on. So we need a code for Nearpod. Let's see, Nearpod, are you ready? Yes, Mr. Q. Let's see. There it is, AQNFV. AQNFV. Now, for those of you that are watching this video by yourself on YouTube, that code is not going to work. I'll give you a code in a little bit for you to log in. So don't worry about this code for those that are watching the video on YouTube. AQNFV. You're logging on to Nearpod, and I know some of you, your cameras are going to turn off because you cannot do both apps at the same time. I get it. So do that right now. Make sure you log in with your full name. Alright. Alright, so to turn in your home plate from last time that we met, I just sent you, look at this screen. This one. This screen is, let me make this small, right, names. It's asking us to turn in the 5 pairs of numbers, sum, difference, product, and quotient of those. So, log your toolbar at the bottom of the screen, and then take a picture of your work. Make sure you pinch it to fit the screen, and submit, please.
Can I get the code again?
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it yet.
Yeah, the code is at the top left. AQNFV. AQNFV. And like I said, today's lesson is going a little slower because we're setting all these tasks and protocols in place. So like that, you know that for the next lessons, that's how we're going to go. You're going to log into Nearpod, and Nearpod, I'm going to ask you to turn in stuff. So make sure when I ask you to copy the code, log in, you do that at that time because that's how it's going to flow. So make sure you're with me. Okay. So as you turn those in, those of you that are watching this video on YouTube, let me give you your code that you're going to need to, yeah.
How do we turn it in?
Take a picture. Take a picture of the problems that you did yesterday. I mean, the day before. I gave you pairs of numbers to find the sum, difference, and product, remember?
I'm on my laptop, so like I can't really take a picture of it. What do I do?
Okay, so on your laptop, for those of you that are on laptop, you're going to put, you can have a Word document open or a PowerPoint document open. You can put your notes to the screen and press the button at the top right above the backspace, and it's called Print Screen. That takes a snapshot of your screen whenever you put your notes to the camera. And once you save that picture to your pictures galleries on your computer, you can upload that as a file. When it says at the bottom on the bar, I think it gives you the option of selecting the file. Now, if all that fails, get your mobile device, just take a picture, and at the end of the lesson, just email me what I'm asking you to turn in. Okay? All right.
So I could just go straight to, or after the lesson, just turn it through email.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay. All right. So for those of you that are joining me on YouTube, here's your code. On YouTube, you're going to be doing this on your own. Here's your code, BYPQL, and that's going to allow you to follow along the lesson using Nearpod by yourself. But when you log in, this is the way you're going to log in. I want your period number first, then your first name, then your last name, in that order. For example, here's my example. 1, Michael Jordan. So that means Michael Jordan is in my period 1. So I want the number of the period first, and then your first, and then your last name. Why? Because this code is going to be for all my periods, so like that when I go look at the report, at least I know what period you're in as soon as I see the number first. Okay? Daniel, question? No question? All right. Okay, we good?
So you're talking about me?
I saw a raised hand. Somebody was raising.
Yeah, can I get the Nearpod code again? Oh, that.
Yeah, give me a second. So, let me go back to Nearpod. Nearpod code AQNFV. AQNFV. That's for those of you that are live with me. And once again, those of you that were not, I already gave you the code earlier. Okay? So I'm going to move on. And pretty much that's how it's going to go, guys. I'm going to give you a slide where you turn in your home play. And I go through these reports by myself, and it comes up on my screen with your name. And notice right now it says submitted, but it doesn't have a name because I don't want your name to be on the screen. I just want you guys to see that I'm actually seeing that you turn in your work. So at this time you have 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. I'm going to forward to the screen. Now, what was the other thing that I asked you to turn in? I asked you to turn in page 8 sign of your syllabus. Now, some of you already emailed me, or your parents emailed me, but some of you have it with you right now. So I'm going to send you a screen, lock your toolbar, and if possible, take a picture of what you have in front of you, send it in. If you already send me the email your parents did, just write emailed already. Write it on the screen. You can write on the screen at this moment. And for those of you that haven't gotten it, just remember to send me an email to remind me to send you the actual syllabus again. Yes, Dominic? Oh, Jonathan, you have a question?
Yeah, you said if we already emailed you the signed paper, we just put like emailed.
Yeah, on the screen you're just going to write emailed already.
Okay.
Yes.
Do I need to sign syllabus?
Do you want to sign one? No, Juan, you don't need to sign one. You're like, what?
Mr. Q,
Mm-hmm.
if we needed to get emailed to me, do I send you a screenshot of it through email?
Yeah, once I email it to you, yeah, you're gonna send me the screenshot that it's signed.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. That's big words right there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. All right. Whew. We good? All right, so you see how it's starting to develop the process as to what we're going to be doing in class? First thing we do, copy the objective, then we work on the warm-up. From there, I might ask you to take a picture of the warm-up once we log on to Nearpod. Then I'm going to ask you to take a picture of the home play that I assigned the previous day, and then I assign you the new home play that's coming up. So, thank you very much. So, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, I already gave you the code for that presentation that you need to use, so make sure you use that. And materials needed, once again, a reminder, you need your notebook, you need your pencil, highlighters, 4-colored pen, and your book. Alright, so let's move on. And your home play for tonight were 8 problems. There they are. Make sure if you're watching on YouTube, just press pause and so you can copy that and work on those. And we go to this screen. To this screen, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of time to relax your mind. Some of you are a little bit nervous because we're about to start with the Algebra 2 stuff. Let's go. So let's see how you do with this memory game. Ready? Hold on. Let me start this recording. So the question was, when picking up your books, how do they know? So just be ready with your maybe student ID or with your schedule if you have it, and let them know that you have an Algebra 2 course and they're going to give you the book for Algebra 2. It's 2 books. It's Volume 1 and Volume 2. They might only have Volume 1, but if they have both already, then take both, and that's it. The Algebra 2 textbook. Okay. And for those of you that still will not be able to go pick it up, I already gave you the code for the electronic version, right? Yes, Mr. Q. Now, if you still need the code for the electronic version, in case you don't get your physical book yet, and maybe you forgot to write it down or whatever, email me so I can give you the code. Okay? All right. Let's get started. Y'all ready? Let's go. Our objective for today, I can simplify algebraic expressions. Once again, I can simplify algebraic expressions. Write that down at the bottom left of your paper. That's the objective for today. Now, notice that the objective has different colors. It's got I can in black, simplify in red, and algebraic expressions in green. So what is the question that I'm asking here? It says, what is the concept for today? Concept meaning, what is the main idea? So if I was to ask you, according to the objective, what is the main idea for today? What would you tell your neighbor that's there next to you? Who's got it? Algebraic expressions. That is correct. Thank you. Yeah, what is the concept for today? Algebraic expressions. And the second question, what are we doing with that? Okay, what's in red? Simplified. Notice this is in red. So what are we doing with algebraic expressions? We're going to simplify. That's what we're doing today. That's the main objective, and that's what we're covering, all right? Once again, we might not be able to get through the entire lesson, but at least I want to get you guys started with the sets of real numbers and such, so like that we can get our year going, okay? It's taking us a little bit longer to get through the lesson because, once again, I'm wanting you to get your note-taking format ready, the way we turn in stuff in order so that you know how to do that through Nearpod or have the experience with your laptop and such. All right, let's move on. And it reads, it says, expressions. We cannot solve expressions. So, listen to what I'm about to say. Writing utensils down, eyes on the screen. Okay, so in case you forgot the other day, I said I was going to be saying that throughout the lesson. And why do I say that? Because that's when I need your full attention. Writing utensils down, eyes on the screen. So I'm going to go over an example as to why we cannot solve expressions. So check this out. Why can't we, Mr. Q? Because we can only do three things with expressions. We can translate, we can evaluate, and we can simplify. Those are the only things we can do with expressions. So once again, you don't have to copy this, just pay attention. It's just a review. Here it goes. We cannot solve expressions, but we can translate. So what if I gave you something like this? A number plus 1. Notice that it's all in words. That's an expression. They're giving us a certain expression. If I ask you to translate this into symbols, then what would we do? I would use a variable when it says a number. So I'm going to use the variable Q. What is the operation in this expression? Plus. And what is the constant in this expression? 1. So what I just did, I did what? I translated. Okay. Did I solve anything? No. That's why we cannot solve expressions. Next, we can evaluate expressions. What does that mean, Mr. Q? If I was to give you an expression already in symbols, Q plus 1, and I said, evaluate this expression when Q equals to 22. So what does that mean? That means that you're going to substitute the value of Q into the expression, and then the next step is called simplify. When we simplify, once we substitute, this becomes 23. That's what we call simplify. Evaluate is when we substitute the value into the expression. Did I solve anything? No. These are not equations. They are expressions. The reason I'm starting with expressions is because we're going to get started first our school year with expressions, with a lot of them, and then from there we're going to get into the rest, which are functions and equations. Okay? Once again, you didn't need to copy this because it's just a review. Alright? Let's move on. Alright, so you have your Cornell notes. In the back of the notes, you don't have anything there. I want you to copy that table, please. It has a column that reads real numbers, and underneath the column of real numbers it has 2 subcolumns. On the right of that, it has a column labeled imaginary, and it's blank. And down here, we have a landscape row, I guess if you want to call it, with a little box for the title. Copy that, please. While you copy that from your Nearpod, I'm going to go to my PowerPoint.
Where do we copy it? Analyze.
On the back side of your paper?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Alright, writing utensils down, look up to the screen. You'll finish copying in a little bit. Alright, now that I have your full attention on the screen, focus on this part. It's going to go pretty fast. Like I said, it's a review. But for those of you that kind of forgot, hopefully this makes it a lot easier to remember. And by the way, I put together this table, Mr. Q. Let's go. So here we go. Writing utensils down, look up to the screen. So let's review real numbers. Real numbers are numbers that we use ever since we were kids. Okay? They are broken into two. Don't write this down, you're just paying attention. I'll give you time right now to copy in a little bit. So right now you're just paying full attention. It says, real numbers are numbers that we've used since we were kids until now, and we use them on a day-to-day basis. That's why they're called real numbers. Within the real number realm, there's two subsets. The subset of rational numbers and the subset of irrational numbers. So what are rational numbers, Mr. Q? I think I remember, but I kind of forgot. So rational numbers are numbers that can be written by combining numbers or just taking one of them and writing them as fractions or decimals. That's why they're called rational, because it comes from the root word, look here inside of rational, ratio. Ratio meaning part. That's why they're called rational numbers, because you can either make them into a fraction or a decimal. Now let me show you the first set of numbers that are under rational numbers. You're still not writing this down, you're just paying attention. The first set that we start with since we were kids in preschool, or me, like I was born and all of a sudden I started talking numbers. Never mind. The first set are known as counting numbers. And if you recall, when you're in preschool or kinder, what is the first thing you did during recess? You ran to the swing, right? You're trying to beat everybody there, and then all of a sudden somebody gets here. I'll race you to see who goes higher. And what did you do? You started counting. Ready? -1. No, we didn't start counting with -1. We started with 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. Those are counting numbers. Another name for those are natural numbers. Okay? Now, the next subset of rational numbers under here are the counting numbers, but including 0. That's why they're called whole numbers. Counting numbers including 0. And there's one more subset, and you're like, oh snap, here they come, my favorite. Yep, integers. What are integers? They're whole numbers, but including their opposites. So we got 0, 1, 2, 3, ... And what is the opposite of 1, 2, 3, 1, ... The negative ones. Copy that at this moment. Alright, writing utensils down, look up to the screen. So, real numbers. There's two subsets, rationals and irrationals. What did we say rationals were? There are 3 different sets underneath the rationals. But what is the main idea about rationals? That they can be made into fractions or decimals. So, question, can I write 3 as a fraction? Yes, 3 over 1. How about, can I write -2 as a fraction? Yes, -2 over 1. How about, can I combine numbers to make fractions and decimals? Yeah. Here, let me write over this. What if I did, I got 2 and 3 and I wrote a fraction? What fraction do I get with 2 and 3? Yeah, 2/3. Okay, computer. Yeah, if I get 2 and 3, I can make a fraction, which is 2/3. If we divide that, it's going to be approximately 0.6 repeating. Did we make a fraction? Yes. Can we make it into a decimal? Yes. That's why they're called rationals, because what's the root word? Ratio, which means what? Part of. Part of. Okay. So now that we got rationals, so if this could be made into fractions and decimals, that means that the irrational cannot be made into fractions and decimals. And these are the samples that I'm going to give you guys. Write those down. Pi cannot be made into a fraction or decimal because it continues and it doesn't stop. Square root of 2 also is an irrational, and it cannot be made into a fraction because it continues. Also, this symbol right here, you start at the top, you go down, up, and in between. This is known as phi. We'll talk about that some other time. And E. E is a number, and we're going to get to that once we get to the latter part of the course, which is in series and logs and all that. Okay? All these are irrational because they cannot be made into fractions or decimals. Okay? Alright, so we're done with real numbers. Okay, so that means the other set of numbers that we have here are what? Imaginary. And I'm going to recap your memory, see if you remember. Remember when we get to these, I said, write this down. This is an imaginary number, square root of negative 16. Write that down, please. Now, Mr. Q, why is this imaginary? Well, because that number cannot be expressed with real numbers. And let me show you why. Okay, computer. Okay. Alright, so here we go. So, if I was to say square root of 16, square root of 16, to find the square root of 16, the rule is a number times itself. What number times itself gives us 16? 4 times 4. So that means the square root of 16 is 4. What other number times itself gives us 16? Negative 4
Negative 4.
times negative 4. So therefore the other number is negative 4. So was I able to get to the square root of 16? Yes. Now let's go to this one. What number times itself, look at the rule, times itself, gives us negative 16? There is none. You're like, can I do negative 4 times 4, Mr. Q? Yeah, but the rule is times itself. Oh, so that means negative times a negative? Nope. How about positive times a positive? Nope. None of those work. That means this is an imaginary number. What do you guys notice about an imaginary number? It's inside of the radical. The negative is inside of the square root or the radical. Let me show you how to rewrite this, and follow along, please. Here you go. Another way of writing square root of negative 16 is square root of, is square root, oh my goodness, of negative 1 times 16. Alright? And can I rewrite that a little bit more? Yes. This could be written as square root of negative 1 times square root of 16. You're like, Mr. Q, that makes it a lot easier to break it down. Yeah, because now if I ask you, what is the prime root of square root of 16? 4. So if I can find the square root of 16, but I cannot find the square root of this one because it's a negative, and we're down to the units, this, guys, look up, this is what we call the letter I. And what do you think I stands for? Tell somebody that's right there with you. What does I stand for? Yeah, imaginary. That is correct. Imaginary numbers. So from now on, whenever I give you a radical with a negative inside, like this, if you can take the square root of the actual number without the sign, then you can make it into an imaginary. For example, what is square root of negative 49? You should have gotten what? 7i. Next, what is square root of negative 100? Yeah. 10i. You guys see what we're doing here? Yeah. Alright. So now that we understand what imaginary numbers and real numbers are, let me introduce the last set of numbers that we're going to be using now in Algebra 2. The last set of numbers that we're going to use in Algebra 2 is this box down here. And those are known as complex numbers. Write that in there. Complex. Complex numbers. So complex numbers are numbers. Notice that this box is underneath both sections, the real number and the imaginary number. And I did that on purpose because you will use both to make a complex number. So watch. what do you see here? We have real numbers, so I'm going to need a number from this side and a number from this side. Aww. You guys see what I did there? Bam. So to make it complex, I need a real number and I need an imaginary number. So what would you think my guess would be that I'm going to use from real numbers? That's right, 23, Michael Jordan, let's go. So that's a real number, and then we're going to put plus, and I'm going to use an imaginary number. What was this imaginary? 4i. That's a complex number. You're like, Mr. Q, this is a piece of cake. I know. I get it. So that's my number. I want you to make up your own complex number. You need a real number and you need an imaginary. Do that right now. Alright? So keep that for your own notes. So the last piece, guys, that we're going to cover today, before we go, because you have home plate, I want to see how much you remember from last time you did algebra with those positive and negative numbers. But just to recap, one of the properties that you're going to need for the home plate is additive inverse property. You guys remember that? Additive inverse property. It says that a number plus its opposite equal to 0. 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 What is the additive inverse property? The number plus its opposite equal to 0. What's another name that I gave those numbers, guys? Zero pairs. Bam, they're coming back. Oh yes, they are coming back. Alright? Next, check this out. The identity property of addition. What does that mean? It means a number plus 0 gives us the same number. A number plus 0 gives us the same number. A number plus 0 equals to the same number. A number plus 0 gives us the same number. That's the identity property of addition. And you're going to need that for tonight's home play. Okay? And the home play, basically, I gave you guys expressions. I'm going to show you some numerical expressions right now so that you can refresh in your memory. Such as, I'm going to start with something simple because like I said, we're running out of time. So if I was to start with something simple, it would be -5 plus 7. So look at this. And here, the key thing is to remember that it needs to be addition for this rule to work. So question, can these 5 negatives cancel 5 of these positives? Yes. So 5 of these cancel 5 of these, so we no longer will have a negative. And how many do we have left here? 2 positives. You guys remember this? Yeah? Coming back? How about when I give you something a little bit longer, such as 9 plus -5 plus -6. I start with 2 at a time. I'm going to focus on these 2 right now. Question. Can 9 of these cancel 9 of these? There aren't any 9 of these. Let me go the opposite direction. Can these 5 cancel 5 of these? Yes. So if these 5 cancel 5 of these, we're left with +4. Is that correct? Bring down the other one, plus -6. And that means here we're going to do the same thing. Can these 4 cancel 4 of these? Yes, so we're left with -2. Alright, so the last thing, guys, when it's subtraction, just to recap, -5 minus 6, the first number stays the same. Change this to addition, and then this one becomes its opposite. What is opposite of 6? -6. And when we have 2 numbers of the same sign, you just combine them, and this is -11. Alright? I think that's all we're going to be able to cover today, guys. So once again, I'm going to upload this video at the end of the day, so in case you missed some of the notes, you can go back and take notes. For those of you that are going to be following along on YouTube, make sure you log in with your Nearpod and submit some of the stuff that I'm asking you to submit. But other than that, guys, how we doing so far? Good? Yeah? Show me with your fingers, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest, as to how comfortable you feel right now with this. 5 being the most comfortable that you are. Where are we at? I see some 5s, 5, 5, 5s, 3s, 10s, okay. Calm down, 10, okay. And so on and so forth. Okay. Alright guys. And 3.5, some of you with doing some of you need a manicure. Alright. Alright guys, well, that's today. Like I said, it was going to go a little slow in certain parts because we're learning how to take notes and how to submit stuff, but that's the flow of the lesson. That's how it's going to start going, alright? So, with that said, we're going to meet up next time. I think it's next week, right, for some of you. So, have a great weekend. Work on that home play, and if there's anything else that you have questions, email me. Yes, Hayden? Question?
I was wondering about taking notes. Are we supposed to print out the Cornell notes and take them on the paper, or can we just do it in that format on separate sheets of paper?
Yeah, so guys, the question, if you couldn't hear, they're asking, do we need to print out the Cornell note? It's up to you. If you have a printer, you can print it out and use that, that's fine. But you already have the format, you can actually, in your notebook, just make the format look like the one I emailed you. Okay? Thank you.
Do you need the graph notebook for notes?
Yeah, you need the graph notebook, yes, because it's going to make it easier when we get to the graphing within the Cornell note. You already have the graphing in there. All right? All right, guys. Well, that's our lesson. Thank you guys for hanging in there. I know this is a little bit different than usual, but, we'll get through it. All right? All right, guys. We'll have a good one. I'll see you guys till next time. All right? Peace.
Bye, Mr.
Bye, guys.
Mr. Q.